Saving Planet Earthly. Our story begins in Johannesburg, South Africa, where we'll be visiting our friends Tokozani and Earthly. Toko and her best friend Earthly loved playing catch at the playground. "Catch, Toko!" shouted Earthly. They also loved dancing. "You're so groovy, Earthly," teased Toko. After a long day of work, they always went stargazing. They did everything together. One day after school, Toko and Earthly were playing football in the schoolyard. After a few minutes of playing football, Earthly began to get dizzy and started coughing. "I'm not feeling too well, Toko," said Earthly. Toko replied, "Let's go to the doctor to see what's wrong." Looking grim, the doctor said, "Earthly, you seem to have a fever and a very bad cough. I'm afraid you have a severe case of climate change. This is also a problem for all the life that calls you home." "Climate change? What's that? And why does Earthly have it?" asked Toko, sounding very worried. The doctor explained, "Climate change is when we see big changes in things like temperature, rain, and wind over a long time. If we took a look at the Earth's medical history, we can see that her climate has changed a lot over time. When Earthly was born into our solar system, she had a super hot surface. She was covered in volcanoes and earthquakes, which made her tremble," the doctor said, getting excited. "Over millions of years, she cooled off and got oceans, lakes, and the air we need to breathe. Now, Earthly had changing temperatures, wind, rain, and snow. These are what we call weather. When we measure the weather of a place over a long time, we call it the climate. The oceans made water and air flow across the globe. In some places, the climate is hot and wet, like the Amazon rainforest, and in others, it's cold and dry, like the Arctic tundra," continued the doctor. Earthly added, "Although my climate has changed many times, it normally takes thousands of years. I was in an ice age around 20,000 years ago, but have been slowly warming up since." Looking puzzled, Toko asked, "If your climate was formed a long time ago and has been changing all throughout your life, why is climate change hurting you so much now, Earthly?" The doctor replied, "Earthly has been warming up very quickly in the last couple of decades. To understand this, we need to go into Earthly's more recent medical history. In the beginning, Earthly was wrapped in a very thin blanket made out of air around us to keep her and all her creatures safe and warm. We call this blanket our atmosphere. After many years, a certain type of ape got up on two legs and started using tools. They could then make fire and hunt for food. These were humans' great, 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 great grandparents," exclaimed the doctor. Soon, humans began to farm animals and plants. They built roads and houses and eventually cars and cities. How did they do that? Asked Toko. They found a way to make energy using the remains of animals and plants that had died millions of years before. These are called fossil fuels, answered the doctor. These fuels could power machines which helped them build and move faster than ever before. However, the fuels also released lot of nasty gases into Earth's atmosphere. But what about the blanket? Pointed out Toko. These gases made her blanket much thicker and warmer, said the doctor sadly. Naturally, it would take thousands of years to make her blanket this thick, but humans have done it in less than 200 years. It's because these changes are happening so fast that Earthly has a problem, continued the doctor. This is a problem for many of Earthly's plants and animals. They might have to migrate to new environments or adapt to the hotter climate. Otherwise, they could face extinction, like our cheetahs here in South Africa, cautioned the doctor. Wow, no wonder I feel so horrible, exclaimed Earthly. Looking very upset, Toko said, "This is just terrible. Why hasn't anyone done anything to help Earthly?" The doctor answered, "Well, some people have tried to help, but this problem is very hard to fix overnight. We need everyone's help to make her better. Earthly, you and Toko can help by talking to children all around the world. You can work with them to better understand the problem and find solutions to climate change." Toko declared, "If we work with children from around the world to make everyone aware of how important this issue is, we can make a big difference." "Thank you for being there for me, Toko. With everyone's help, I should start feeling better soon," said Earthly, feeling hopeful. We have learned a lot today. These are some things you could do to help. Teach your friends about climate change. Save water. Take shorter showers. Buy less stuff. Use a bike or bus instead of a car. Turn off lights and unplug electronics when you're not using them. Don't waste food. And lastly, recycle and throw away your trash properly.